guys, Larry up here in Uperland, and it is finally time. It's finally time for this, my old Skidoo. This is a '09 Skidoo Summit. I call it the Dooski. When I go riding with people and stuff, I call it the Dooski. This thing has been really customized. Everything has really been changed on this thing and everything over the years. I bought it probably like 6 years ago. And I've used it quite a bit and stuff. It's carbureted, so I only use it up here in the UP. I don't take it out west in the mountains or nothing like that. But last year I had a chain. I had a gear blow up in the chain case. Just wrecked the chain case, everything. The chain case cover, the whole box and everything. I had to do all that, replace it all. And since I was doing that, I rebuilt the whole rear end of the Snowmobile. Put that really nice bag mount on it. And it has this special rail system. It's called the Easy Ride. And it was from a company actually up here in the UP that made these. And the whole thing, it moves back and forth. And what it does is, Skidoos are known that they wheelie a lot. And what this does is it actually gets it back up on the snow. It doesn't wheelie so much. It gets up on the snow and it levels off. So it's pretty cool. The company's actually gone. They don't make these anymore. And people see it and they go, oh, that's an Easy Ride. They get all excited about it and stuff. But it's pretty cool. It's a nice snowmobile. It works good for up here. But it is carbureted. This year I've gone over a few things on it. And it's been running really good and everything. But it doesn't carve very good. The main reason why is I believe it has a 40-inch front end. And a 40-inch wide front end on a snowmobile is basically a trail snowmobile. Off-trail snowmobiles, usually they're like 36 and stuff. And so last year, there was a guy that I met, became friends with him. He's out of Madison, Wisconsin. He's Mr. Skidoo. He's on forums and everything else. He does rebuilding of clutches and stuff down in Madison, Wisconsin. If you guys have snowmobiles and you guys want a clutch setup, this guy is the guy, okay? And you can contact me, send me an email, and I will send you his information. This is what he does, is he does clutch work and stuff, and he does really good stuff. But we were talking about it and everything else, and we had gone out snowmobile and stuff, and he goes, I think they make a whole new front end for this thing that narrows it up to a 36, because I contacted a lot of different off-market companies asking them, because like on my brother's snowmobiles, we put different front ends on those, and you can get whatever front end you want, kind of widths and stuff. And I've contacted a bunch of those companies, and everybody said the same thing. No, we don't make a front end for that snowmobile. Who would be messing with that yet? Me. It's a fun little snowmobile. I use it up as a backup and everything. Most of the time, it's the snow bike. That's what I love. That's what I love doing. But once in a while, if the conditions are good for the snow bike, throw the snowmobile out here. I now have another snowmobile too, but get this thing all fixed up. It's running great. The motor is running great. Everything is operating fine on it. It just doesn't carve very well. So last spring, I actually went into a company here in town called Dollar Bay Power Sports. And they've been kind of my guys up here. I've been ordering from these guys everything I need. And I went and talked to them guys, and we looked it all up and everything. Sure enough, we could get a whole kit. It comes with A-arms, the steering arms, spindles, shocks, springs, everything. It comes with everything on the front end, and it's going to narrow it up to a 36. And then I can use the shims on the skis to narrow it up another, I think, 1.5 inches or something like that, I think it's it. So I can get this thing down to like a 35. The only problem with it, it's not going to be like the new Polaris RMKs or something. The main reason why is because the body is so wide from this end all the way over to the other end. So if you carve the snowmobile, what's going to happen is the body panels are going to still hit. But, hey, if I can narrow it up to make it even better, and stuff, that's great, So we're gonna do that, and I ordered this last spring, and they said July. I was gonna be getting in. I was like, that's fine. It's the end of the year, not gonna be riding anymore. So I paid them half the money down. And then July came and gone, and I came up here one time this summer, and I stopped in there, and I said, hey, I don't want you guys sitting on this. Did you come in? And I think it was like August, and they're like, nope. Turned out Skidoo had some issues. Somebody hacked into their accounts or something like this, and they basically held all their information for ransom, I guess. And Skidoo said, forget you, we're not paying it. And so they had to rebuild everything. And he's like, Skidoo's having a problem. I'm like, well, it's no big deal. It's summertime, you know. As long as they get it by this winter, it'll be good. Oh yeah, we'll get it by November and stuff. And he used to, every once in a while I talk to him. Oh yeah, it's coming November, they're saying. November came, nope. Then they said December. And I was like, okay. December came, nope. Then it started becoming a joke. Every time I go in there, I'm like, oh, I'm here to pick up my front end kit. And they're like, yeah, not here. And they would actually call the guy, the distributor, and the distributor say, oh, it's going to be January. It's going to be February. Finally, they said March 31st. And said, we have a delivery date, March 31st. And I'm like, yeah, I'll see that one again. Well, it didn't show up on the 31st. It actually showed up like 2 weeks in April, but it did show up. So let me show you what's in the box. So here's what came with it. And basically what this is supposed to do is make this into like a new Summit front end on this older Summit. And it's a 36-inch front end suspension kit. S36 handling package, it says. And I think that's French, I think they're French. Something like that. I think Skidoo is French. It's like French-Canadian or something. I think they're from Canada or something. But in the box, I got paper. I kind of just glanced in it at the place. Here's all the new joints and everything that go into it, all the shims and all that stuff. Looks like these are going to be my upper A-arms. And I'm going to have to find out the part numbers for those in case I bend one or something like that. Then I will have to get new ones and stuff. So I'm going to have to ask them what the part numbers are that match up to those. So in the future, I'll just write on the wall here. If I bend up an arm, I can order a new one. But it should be off a new Skidoo. So it should be easy to get. They do have a lot hanging on the wall down there. So they probably have the one hanging on the wall. Then we have a pair of KYB shocks. And I guess that I have to use my old uprights. The uprights are those things that goes from the skis up. Because I didn't see them in here, but... oh, they're actually in here. Here's a set of springs to go on the shocks. They actually did include the uprights. The guy said that they didn't, because I looked on the outside of the package. Here's the steering arms. The new, because of length, because we're narrowing it up, so we got to have new steering arms. And here's the uprights. I thought he said it didn't come with it. So this is a new style upright that comes with the Summits. And that goes down on the ski like that. And then the arms attached to it, the steering arms attach out here. And these are new uprights. So that's nice. So we got a pair of those. And then the bottom A-arms. So there's all the stuff out of the box, and basically I'm going to start tearing apart. Sorry about that, making me dizzy. Tearing apart and basically just pull the whole front end off the snowmobile. I'm going to use my jack thing and lift the whole snowmobile in the air. Tear the whole front end off of it, drop it down, and then I can get started piecing it all back together and everything. So it looks like what I have here is a 40-inch front end kit on there. So this is going to narrow it up to 36. It's quite a bit. So it's going to pull each ski in 2 inches. So they're going to be sitting like over in here now, basically even with the body lines. It's going to make it carve a lot better. And then if I put the spacers on, there's spacers that go on here, and that will I can push the skis in a little further. The only thing is, like, if you're side hilling and stuff, the side panels are going to hit, but you know, hey, it's just basically removing the shock. And then removing the bolts, the 2 bolts on there, removing the 2 bolts on the bottom. I need to remove the bolts out of the skis here first before I do anything, because these are the toughest ones to get to. I might actually try to remove it, the whole deal right out of here. And remove that whole thing. It might be easier to get with the ski. These are like powder skis somebody put on here, Pro Powder I think they're called. A little wider for off trail and stuff. But this is gonna make a lot of things. All the bushings are worn out in this thing. I don't know. Everything is just worn out. So, yeah, it's gonna be nice. It's gonna fix this thing right up. Well, guys, I got one of the skis off. It was pretty easy. Just pull that bottom ski mount right off there that hooks through the carbide bolts, and pull that off. And I was able to use the impact to turn the bolt. What happens is people put those bolts through there, and they don't put anti-seize in. and the snow and everything is up in there, and it melts when you pull it in the garage, and the snow gets in the water, and it actually rusts it right into that thing. This one over here, I am having a problem with. I have actually put on my big 1/2-inch impact, which will actually take off some of my lug nuts, and I have wrapped on that thing, and it is not budging. It is not going to go. So what I gotta do is pull out this little boot here. I can get it out. These are pretty worn. I'm gonna need to get some new ones for it. I can't remember what they call those things. I think they're called ski rubbers. And I'm gonna get a pry bar and pull this one out. I'm gonna have to use a torch and heat this up, get this hot, and then wrap on it and see if I can get that bolt. The bolt is just rusted right in here. This is like a shim thing that goes through this whole deal, and it's rusted in there. And so I gotta heat that thing up, see if I can break that bolt loose from in there. Well guys, I got the muffler out here, and this is giving me room to these bolts. The 2 bottom bolts are down here that are to the bottom A-arms on the front. The back ones I haven't found yet. These are the top A-arms, and then the ones in the back, they're actually in the motor mounts, and they're like a captured spot. It's like a little square thing. The nuts are up inside that little hole there, so they should hold in there. I'm gonna have to remove the skid plate, I guess, to get those bottom A-arms off. So there's just pop rivets. Somebody installed this, and it's just pop rivets. So I'm gonna have to drill the pop rivets out so I can get that off there. I was able to get that spindle off where it mounts onto the ski, and boy, that thing, that bolt was so rusted in there. I had to use my torch and just heat this thing to red hot. And then I sat there with my 1/2-inch impact and just wrapped on it, and I figured either you're gonna snap this bolt or whatever. And it actually, I didn't think it was gonna come, but I wrapped on it for a long time, and finally, you can see the nut it was really wrapping on it, and it finally broke it loose and it came out. So now this will come out. You can see it's still super tight. I'll clean it out with a drill bit and stuff to clean the old rust out of there, and put anti-seize on there. All right, so I got the skid plate off the front of it. You can see it's sitting right over there. It's just a bunch of rivets, and looks like there's 2 bolts there. Right there that are on the lower A-arms. I'm really hoping that's a captured nut behind there. And then there's 2 bolts there up in the front that go through there. And those nuts are down inside there. Can't really see because all the rust and dirt down in there, but they're down there. So let's pop those off, and then the A-arms, shocks, everything will just come right off. Well, there it is. I got it all ripped off. The problem with it is the nuts back in here, they have these little holes. You can kind of see, I stick my finger up in there, that you can get to the nuts, but you can't get a wrench in there. The holes are too small to get a wrench. I'd use a screwdriver and stick it up in there and just put it on the side of the nut to hold it. That's kind of a messed up way. I don't know. I didn't have fun doing it, but got it all off. And the front ones got off. These bolts haven't been out of there, this thing, since 2009. Now it kind of looks like a jet ski to me. It's kind of looking like a jet ski. If I just put a whole front end on there, I just put some panels underneath there to keep the water from kicking up, it'd be like a jet ski. I don't know how you'd steer it though. All right, so now it's time to start piecing together things. We can open up our parts bag. Basically what this is, it's all the little swivels, the joints, these get punched into here. I'm not sure I'm gonna be able to do this with a socket and punching in there. If anything, I may have to run these down to Dollar Bay, and they may have to put them in their press them in for me. I don't have my press here. My press is down in Wisconsin, so they may have to do this for me. The bigger ones go in there. The other one, these ones here, I should be able to get these. These go in the top ones. Maybe not. Yeah, I might be able to. I don't know. We'll see. They just go in there, and then there's a little pin, a little C-clip that goes in there to hold it in. And that's for the top, so swivel on there. But all the rest of the stuff in the bag is basically all nuts. Here's the other top one. These are for the bottom of the shocks, old springs. Here's all the little clips here to hold those wheels in. And then these are all the Teflon spacers and all the stuff that goes into stuff. And basically it comes with all new nuts, because it's all locked nuts. And then we got instructions. And I was talking to the guy I was talking about with the clutches, that he's always on forums and stuff, and they calls him Skidoo Mike. And he said he was actually on some forums, some Skidoo forums, and some people were talking about replacing the front ends with this exact kit. And he was like, just so you know, a buddy of mine, he's had one on order forever. So you might want to get an order. So we got instructions. That's the parts bag. Parts listing tells you what the stuff is. Ooh, look at that. There's pictures and everything. I like pictures. Makes it easier for reading. Remove parts. Yep, did all that already. Check that off. Tie rod removal. Boom, boom, boom. These have says about stabilizer links, when we don't have stabilizer links on these. Oh wow. I just figured out why I had such a problem getting those, why I can't get up in there. It says to hold rear nuts, grind a 15mm open wrench. So you're supposed to grind it flat. So I got to wreck a wrench to get it in there. I had to use that screwdriver. Wow. Okay then. Awesome. I learned now that what I'm supposed to do. I guess by reading instructions later on. That works. All right, guys, we're gonna try to finish this up. I think I can finish it up. I'm not really sure. I got one part that may have to do differently. May have to order something. But we're gonna give this all a try. We're at least gonna get the A-arms all mounted up in there and everything. I just maybe I'll be able to mount the skis on, which doesn't matter because the snow's all melting anyways. It's almost gone. But I bought this kit. It was 3 days before Easter. And I bought the kit, and it says in the kit, so you're supposed to reuse the old bushings, which are these little plastic things, and these are all worn out. I mean, it was a 2009, I can tell you, they've never been changed. And then they have these little metal sleeves in here that go inside those bushings. And this is what the bolt goes in to hold the arms on, and they pivot on this. Well, the inside of them, you can see they're a little bit oblong on a couple of them. So I didn't want to go through all this trouble and put this old parts in, and that's what the kit says, which is kind of crazy. It should come with this stuff. But it doesn't. I called back down to Dollar Bay, which is my place I go to for all my stuff up here. These guys are really good. And they're good people. That's a main thing about it. They're just good people. And they've always taken care of me. And if they don't have something new, they usually have it used upstairs or something in piles. And so they always take care of me. And I called them in, they were just about closing. And I got this younger kid, and he's like, I know who you are. He goes, I don't remember the kit number and stuff. And I says, yeah, I said, didn't come all the bushings and new sleeves. I says, it's supposed to use the old ones, and the old ones have been in there since 2009, so they're gone. And he's like, okay. And I said, well, is Joe around? Joe's the main guy. He's the guy I know. And he's like, no, he's gone till Monday. He's off because it was Easter weekend and stuff. It was like Thursday. So, and I came over and I was working on some construction stuff here, and then all of a sudden my phone rang. I didn't hear it, and somebody left a voicemail and listened to it. It was a dude at Dollar Bay. It was Joe, and he's like, hey, I heard about the bushing issue and stuff. And he goes, the guy let me know that, you know, the new bushings were coming in, and you called. He goes, give me a call if I can help. Well, I had to run to town, so I just stopped in there. And I took the upper and lower bushings with him and everything, and went in there. He's like, yeah, that's crazy they didn't include it. He goes, but I looked in there, and sure enough, they don't. And he goes, well, what do you want? He goes, do you want just the plastic sleeve parts? I says, no, I'd like to replace the metal parts too, because they're a little bit oblong, and if I'm going to go through all this, let's have all new parts. He goes, oh, let's walk over to the shelf, see what we got. Walked over there. Right here it is. It's made by Kimplex, and I'm trying to read it backwards on my phone. Part number is 300307. Excuse me. And this comes, opening up here, one-handed. This comes here with all the plastic sleeves. You got the lowers and the uppers. One's a little bigger than the other one. Sorry, not camera, not on that. It also comes with brand new bushings, which are the same as the factory. They have that notch in them. And then here's the upper ones. They're the same. And it comes with this whole thing. And all those bushing kits that I had on eBay that, you know, I figure I'll get them off of here. They're going to be a little cheaper and stuff. I almost ordered them last night. And all those were coming up to over $200 for all those bushing kits. He had on the shelf $48 for this kit. Right there, right on the box, you can see it. $48 for this whole kit. Replaces it all. So now I got all the bushings and everything, so I'm going to start piecing this all back together, put all the bushings in the A-arms, and start putting the A-arms back into it. All right, guys, we got the lower arms mounted in. All the bushings are in there and everything, and nice. It's just got a little tiny bit of resistance, but it's pretty good. So I like that. Got my steering arms put in, and all ready to put in the spindles next. And I'll show you what I had to do with that. So looking at and talking with the guys over at Dollar Bay Power Sports up here in Houghton, or Hancock. It's just outside. It's kind of towards Lake Linden, whatever. But these are the new spindles that come with it. And they come with these little bushings right here that pressed in. And the thing is that, I'm trying to do this one-handed here. They're pretty tight. There it goes. These are the inner part of the bushing. And I actually went down there and I'm like, dude, these will not fit. And this part actually fits over the top of this. And it was pressed on it for many, many years. And it uses this like spacer guide thing that was also pressed on it to offset the skis on either side you want to. And this one here I got to come out easily. The other spindle, I could not get it apart. I heated it and everything else. I ended up finally having to cut it down here, and I had to I basically wrecked the spindle trying to punch it out of there. And so I just cut it and was able to get it out. But then I went down there and I'm like, these will not fit. They would not fit inside here. And even without these spacers, these would not have fit inside there. And I'm like, these are the wrong ones. And then the guy started looking at it and he noticed that it was, he's like, there's an inner and an outer part and then a spacer on there. And he goes, it's just been pressed on, it's been rusted on there for so long. You should be able to get those apart. I tried putting them in a vise and I actually got this part to pop off, the spacer. I got that to pop off, but this part was so rusted on there, I could not get it off. I took a little cutoff saw and just made a groove in there to almost where I went into this part. You can see I actually touched it just a little bit, but that's all right. And then I was able to take a screwdriver and kind of pry it apart and I was able to get it out of there. And then if you put these bushings into here, then it actually goes down in there and it will go through there. It's just hard to do with my one hand. There it goes. So then it goes through there, and in the book, it shows it, and it's actually, it's like, I don't know what they call it. It's some kind of plastic, or it's not plastic, but it's like a fiberglass or something. This goes on there, and then you put it on whatever side you want. Put it on the outside, put it on the inside, or whatever, and it'll offset the skis. And so now we're all good. This is the way it's supposed to be. So now we can mount the spindles, put the spindles on there, and hook up the steering arms, and then we can work on putting the top A-arms in. Well, there we go, guys. We got all the shocks on there. We've got the skis mounted on. It's pretty easy. Just put those plates on. Put the spacers on the inside. That way it pushes the spindles out, puts the skis even closer inside. You want this to be narrow for off trail so that it's easy, so that you can carve, so that the snowmobile cars back and forth. When they're a real wide stance like that, makes them stable, especially on like trails and stuff. They're good for that. 40, 42 inches is good. When you get off trail, you want to have it around a 36 or so is a good number that seems to be working nowadays. So I haven't measured this one yet. There's a tape measure right here. So I guess I can do that quick. Because if you remember, the last one was 40 inches. So put it to the middle of the spindle. And it's actually, well, right there it is. They're 36 arms. So it's 36. But if you actually look at it, the center of the ski is probably right about there. So it's actually probably about 34 3/4 is middle of the ski. So if I put it right on the middle bolt there, hook it on that one, see, even with that bolt in the center, it's about 34 3/4. So that's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. What I have to do is put the belly pan back up underneath here, and it's just pop riveted through there and has bigger washers that hold it, and bunch them up in here, and there's a couple down on the bottom. Holds that in, then I can drop it down in and adjust the steering on it. Well guys, now it's time to set up the skis and the toe outs and the ski stance and everything else. You want the snowmobile to be sitting on its own weight, and then you want to put a bungee cord to the front, on the front skis to kind of pull any slack in the steering out. And you don't want it to be pulling super hard. It's just putting a little bit of pressure. And really, guys, there's no slack in the steering whatsoever, because it's all new steering parts. Everything's all brand new. But you want to, you know, that's just the way you do it. Then you want to pick a point on the snowmobile, on the back of the snowmobile. And what I've done here is put a piece of tape on here, and I've measured halfway across the tunnel, and that way, and I just put a line across there. Then what you want to do, take a tape measure, and usually what you'll do is you'll kind of hook it onto the outside of the handlebars. I really can't do that because this one's been tweaked and that one's bent a little bit. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go a little bit. I'm gonna hook right there halfway on the foam, and you just come back to that point right there, and it's what, 74 and about a 74 1/8. Then we're gonna go on to the other side. Put the same thing right there, and it's just about 74 1/8. So now I know that I have my handlebars set straight at the moment, because you want to have the handlebars straight before you adjust the skis. And then what I usually do is I put a piece of wood, really nice straight edge would be nice, but I don't have one that long. And you just put it up against the track, because the track is your straight point, and you have it come up through the skis there, and then you can measure off the skis on each side, on the front and the back, and make the ski so that it's straight. So then the skis are straight to the snowmobile with the handlebar straight. And what I like to do is I like to take tape, and I like to put a piece of tape. Let's go a little bit longer. And I put it back here and tape it like so. So that way when I'm adjusting all the steering and everything, the handlebars are locked into position. They cannot move, because I've had that happen before. And then you gotta go through the whole process again. There you go. Now the handlebars are locked into position, and they cannot be turned. So that keeps them really good and straight. Then we just go down here, and I have it all loose and everything. We'll see how far it is off. This ski is tweaked a little bit. It's got a little bit of a bend up in the front here. It's kind of tweaked a little bit, probably from bouncing off a tree or something. But the ski is actually still straight. So we got to pick a point on the ski to measure from. And what I'm going to do is just do the edge. That's what I'm going to just go across. Some of them have, like, some skis have bellered out. They have, like, you know, like a wider ski tip than the rest of it. But this ski is the same width all the way down. So we got 5 inches in the front. And we got 5 1/4 in the rear. So we need about an 1/8 inch. And so the jam nuts, I just have them loose. I should be able to turn this by hand. Okay, that's the, oh no, that's the right way. So we just turned it a little bit. Now we could check it again. Okay, we're about 5 1/8. That's really good, actually. Same thing, 5 1/8. So we got a straight ski. So now I'm gonna do the same thing, measuring off of that, going over there. Or I can actually put my tape measure right onto this ski because I know I got the ski straight. Then I can actually measure off of this ski and go to the other ski and get that one straight over there too. All right, so we got these skis all straightened up. And if I measure it, put it against that ski, I have, it's hard for you guys to see because I'm not holding it straight for you. I got to look at it straight down. But I have 1, 2, 3, 4, I got 28 and 5/16. And on this one, up in the front, I got 28 and 5/16 perfectly. So now what we need to do is we need to make this, what you should do on an off-trail snowmobile is have 5 millimeters of toe out, which is basically about 3/16. So we got to kind of go 1 1/2/16. So, you know, it's not the most precise tape measure here, but so we're going to toe this out. We're going to make it what? There's 5 to 6. So in between 6 and 7/16. So to do that, I just need to tighten this steering rod up just a little bit. Now we have 28 right in the middle of, let's see here, 28 1/4, that's almost 28 3/8. We need to go just a smidge more. Right there. So it's just over 28 3/8, in between 3/8 and 7/16. So now I'll go to the other side. There's our measurement. So I just need to tighten up these jam nuts, get wrenches, and lock everything down. Well, guys, everything is adjusted. Everything is tightened up. And I tell you what, it is so much easier to pull this thing over. When you actually come from behind, you look from behind, you don't even see the skis. It's basically, they're underneath the plastic, which is, it really makes, because this thing was really, when you try to tip it, it was like you're pulling about 150 pounds over. It was difficult. But now, I mean, it's just going. And so that's going to make it really good. I have the shocks set at the softest setting. They have little lines on the shocks here. And what you do is just tighten this collar up to give more pressure. It also does ride height too. But the ride height's pretty good. The A-arms are pretty much level. So we'll see how it goes. But I'm pretty much thinking that's where they're going to be sitting. So all I need is now is snow. Which, it's gone. It's like 70 degrees today. It's pretty much all melted away and gone. But this thing's all good to go. So now I'm going to be able to put this thing away for storage. And this snowmobile is actually running really good. This thing has just been kind of my UP beater. You know, going up in the tight trees, you bump off a tree, you hit something, it's not a big deal. You know, I bought it many years ago, had it for a long time, didn't pay very much for it. It's carbureted, so in the UP it's good, but going out west, no. And, you know, I run it once in a while and everything else, but this year I have, you know, last year I went through basically the chain case from the motor, everything back, and I redid everything. Track, everything. And then this year, and I've had this kit on order for 1 year and a month. I finally got it. And there's people all talking about it. It's pretty crazy how long it's been waiting for this. Other people are still waiting for theirs, but I got mine. And not only snow, but I got it. But and then also it was running a lot better with the carbs and stuff, but it was still following plugs and everything. And I saw that the exhaust manifolds, the Y pipe was missing a couple bolts. And I pulled that apart and I ordered new gaskets for it. And I put new gaskets in there and got new bolts and put all the bolts in there and everything else. Now I got actual back pressure the engine's supposed to have. And this thing is actually running really good. So I'm really happy with this thing. It's going to be a nice snowmobile. It's really dirty and everything because the last time I went, it was muddy roads and stuff, and I don't have a cover for it, and I put it on my trailer behind the truck, and it was kicking up all the slime off the road, so it's really dirty and everything needs to be washed. And that's what I'll do is when I'm going to be taking it down and storing it for the summer. And basically in the storage on this thing, it's carburetors, but you can't get to carburetors unless you tear the whole thing apart. So basically what I'm going to do is take all the gas out of this thing that I can. I'm going to put additive into it, some seafoam, dump that into the gas, and then I'm just going to run the snowmobile for 5-10 minutes at a time. Just keep doing it over and over until it runs out of gas. And that way the carburetors will be, you know, they'll be treated, but they'll be empty, so there's no gumming that's going to be happening. And then the tank will be empty and everything else, and it'll be good to store away from the summer. And then I'm also going to, there's a friend that I have that he does race clutches. It's his big thing is rebuilding clutches on snowmobiles, and he actually stays at my house, comes up here to snowmobile, and he's actually up here snowmobiling right now. He's got a snowmobile he rebuilt, and he wants to sell it to this guy. This guy offered a bunch of money, but he doesn't like selling things until he tries them out. So he's up here trying to find a little bit of snow here and there just to run it. Wants to get like an hour of runtime on it, and he said he wants to try to get 100 miles on it while he's up here for a few days, and then he'll feel confident selling it and be in good faith to be good. He does the clutches, so when I take it down and store it for the summer, I'm actually gonna do that. Pull the spark plugs, put a little bit of oil in each spark plug to fog them a little bit, just hand pull it over a few times, and then I will pull the clutch on it, and I'm gonna hand that off to him and everything, and I'm gonna have him rebuild the clutch in this thing because the clutch is, it needs to be rebuilt. It's never been rebuilt, and when you first fire it up for the first time in a day, and you take off and everything's cold, you give it gas, and it kind of goes, whoa, and it stops. Everything just stops, and it's the clutch just not engaging, and you gotta stop, engage it again. You gotta do it like 2 or 3 times, and then the clutch gets warmed up, and then it works properly. But I'm gonna get the clutch rebuilt, and then this thing will be good to go next year. It'll be a nice snowmobile, and then of course I'll wash it before I put it away too, and grease everything up. There's only a couple. There's like 2 grease fittings on it, so yeah, there we go. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video, and if you did, leave a comment, question, whatever you want to see on down in the comments. And I hope that you guys have a great day or a great night while watching this video. And if you're not, we'll certainly try that all over again tomorrow.